Hey everybody, so Mr. Game 7, Justin Williams, has finally returned to the NHL as he has signed a one-year veteran minimum $700,000 deal with the Carolina Hurricanes, the team we all knew that he was going back to. So before I fully get into the video, I just want to quickly remind everyone to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It greatly helps out the channel and is very, very much appreciated. So Justin Williams last season obviously was with Carolina, was the captain of the team, and led them on a deep playoff run to the Eastern Conference Final before they lost to Boston. He was then an unrestricted free agent this past summer, did not sign anywhere. It was very well noted that he wanted to stay in Carolina. But I also really don't think he wanted to go through the grind of a full 82-game NHL season again. He's in his late 30s now at 38 years old. He just, had a full season last year and a very deep playoff run. I don't really think he wanted to go through that kind of grind again. So, rather than signing in the offseason, Williams did what he described as took a break from the NHL. And there were talks about retirement. There were talks that he wouldn't come back. But for the most part, people thought that he was going to come back, just not before the season started, and he didn't want to play the full season. Turns out that's exactly what happened. Williams sat out the first half of this season. He now has come back to Carolina just in time for the second half of the year and another potential deep playoff run. So this isn't the first time we've seen a veteran do something like this. I remember Mike Fisher, I think, is another great example. After the 2017 Cup run for Nashville, Fisher sat out the first half of the following season and then came back in the second half of the season, signed with Nashville on a one-year deal again, went on one more playoff run with the Predators, did not make the Stanley Cup, but that was obviously the goal, and then retired after that season. I think we're seeing Justin Williams basically do the same thing. He didn't want to go through the grind and put his body through another full NHL season. I think he's coming back for one more crack at another Stanley Cup, which I believe would be his fourth. If he was to win the Stanley Cup this year. And we've seen veteran players do this plenty of times. So I think for the most part, we all thought Justin Williams was coming back. We all knew that if he was coming back, it was basically going to be Carolina or not at all. That's where he lives. That's where his family's located. I think that's the one spot that he wanted to be. And Carolina certainly is happy to have him back. But Justin Williams can still play. This isn't one of those situations where, he's coming back as just a veteran player to have in the locker room to be a leader on the team, but play on the fourth line and play 8 minutes a night. This is not that kind of situation. Justin Williams had 53 points last season. That is top 6 production out of a player in their late 30s. He can still play hockey. Now, obviously, he hasn't played at all so far this season. I'm sure he's kept himself in good shape, obviously anticipating a return. But there's a difference between being in good shape and being in NHL game shape. So it's going to be interesting to see how long it takes him to get back into NHL game shape. But I'm sure he's already in very good condition and ready to return. Otherwise, I don't think he would be coming back if he didn't think he could do it physically. So I expect Williams to come in, probably play maybe on the third line this year. Carolina is a good team. They've got a lot of depth. So he's probably more of a third liner at this point. Certainly could play second line still as well, but I'm interested to see how he looks because he was still a very, very highly productive player last season. So I don't know if there's going to be any drop-off or if he's going to come back and still play at that level. If he does play at that level, that is very, very good news for Carolina. But Williams, back with the Hurricanes, wants to take one more crack at the Stanley Cup. I do think this is probably it for him. He's going to play the second half of this season. However far Carolina makes it in the playoffs, and Carolina, barring an epic collapse, is going to make the playoffs this year. I know they're a wild card team, but they're in a very, very difficult division full of good teams. Carolina should, fairly easily make the postseason this year. He'll get one more run, and then I do think he'll probably retire after this season and playoffs are over. But Justin Williams, as most of us expected, now back with the Carolina Hurricanes for the second half of the season. And we'll see how he looks. We'll see how he performs. But last season, he could still play. So I kind of think that he's going to come back and be a solid contributor to this Hurricanes team. With that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.